So this one like SQL and PLSQL, right? They're both different parts. So PLSQL requires some knowledge on the SQL area. So
Mm-hmm.
in the SQL area, what is the exact purpose why we use SQL in the normal client environment is it is for the purpose of extracting the data, okay, and it's purpose of like updation, right? Or what do we call it like a maintenance purpose or maybe transaction data. Nothing but like insert, update, as well as delete. So this is a major purpose, and extraction means select purpose. Okay, and if you consider like creation of the object, creation or modification of the database objects, nothing but your DDL, data definition language. So like creating an object, like creating a table, creating a view, dropping a view, or
Sridhar, one quick question. Are you
yeah,
sharing your screen?
sorry,
Couldn't see yours.
yeah, 1 minute, sorry.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, yeah. So extraction is for the purpose of getting the data from database. Updation or maintenance means like a validating, updating the data using the insert, update, and delete command. And there's another thing called data definition language. So like creating or modifying a database object. It can be table, it can be view, it can be synonyms. We'll also discuss what are the database objects and how we validate them. So that's a major part of this. So again, you have basic concepts in the SQL, but the major important parts are like the DML part as well as DDL part. DML and DDL. These are the both important parts of the skill. Okay. So
Yeah,
what we try to cover is we'll try to cover this all the things like majorly our concentration is on the select part because insert, update, and delete is just a simple things, but mostly we try to concentrate on select part because
yeah,
major requirement your requirement will be like getting the data from different tables on based on appropriate requirement. So a single select is not just enough. You have to get the data using multiple tables and you have to apply the group functions and you also need to work on the joins. That is where the major important part is. So we'll try to concentrate on that area. Okay. Anyway, like we'll consider the SQL part once we start. Okay. But anyway, the basic things which we cover as a part of a SQL is PL SQL is like procedure, creation of the procedure, creation of the function, and the creation of the packages. Exception handling, okay, and of course the cursor part, and some Oracle seeded APIs like util file and these kind of things, and bulk concepts. So these are the major important parts of the PLC code which we try to cover.
so are triggers important or?
Yeah, we can cover, not a problem. It is also important. Again, it depends on the requirement.
Okay, so these are the major concepts in PLSQL, right?
Okay, major, yeah.
Okay,
Remaining, yeah, if anything which I missed out, we can just cover up. But the major important part, if we understand these concepts, like working on other concepts, it becomes so easy.
yeah, sure, yeah,
Not,
yeah,
yeah. Okay. So I'll try to,
yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, one quick.
yes,
So my expectation is, I mean, I want to really get thorough with SQL and PLSQL really extensively. So I will be strong with the basics and everything.
yeah. Yeah, one basic thing, when we want to learn any of the languages, the basic thing is if we have a strong knowledge on the basic things, learning any other extensive or what you say, the tougher things become very easy. The only thing is we require
Yeah,
the basic concepts are strong because whenever you deal with any of the any advanced concepts, always the advanced concepts are the refinements of the existing things. So we have to
exactly.
have the basics strong. Then we can understand any of the either the simple thing or advanced stuff very easily.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll start with what is database. See, now if you are observing here, what is a database? So in a simple terms, a database is a software which we use for maintaining the data, right? So maintaining the data means nothing but like insert, update, as well as delete. That is a database software.
Yeah,
So the present
yeah.
database software which I'm using is Oracle Database 11. Okay. And one more thing is SQL part, like when you are dealing with SQL, as you are already with the Oracle product, but generally the SQL which you are using for the Oracle purpose, the same thing, 90% of the SQL commands will comply with all the databases. And of course
Yes,
they
yes.
have some ANSI standards like that, but mostly the concepts are same. Even if you work on the Microsoft Dynamics SQL or maybe the MySQL or any other databases also.
Yeah, so SQL is a common language to talk to the database to
Right,
retrieve the information.
right. SQL, yes. So retrieval as well, yeah. For like maintaining the data, I can say like there is one more general term we use it called CRUD: create, read, update, as well as delete. So SQL is one of
Yeah.
the language which we use for performing CRUD operations.
Okay. Yeah. So, but most of the times, I mean, I'll be using the select statement, right? 85% of the time.
Yes, right. That's of course that's correct. Because whenever you
Yeah.
want to work on the reports, yes, select is always the basic thing or the only thing which we can use.
Yeah. So in real time, does the developers have the ability to create or update or delete anything?
Of course, why not? Like when you're working on interfaces, yes, we have to do all these things, right? I can tell you those
Okay.
scenarios also, but like once we start PLSQL, we can deal those things.
Okay.
There's a concept, special thing which generally very much important in the Oracle ERP part is called interfaces,
Yes, I heard interfaces, conversions.
right?
I remember when we were talking to
Yeah,
Kalyan.
this is damn important in the normal Oracle ERP environment. It's so important.
Okay.
Yeah. So this requires the extensive knowledge of the PLSQL. The interfaces requires the
Oh,
PLSQL knowledge.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll give you an
And,
overview of that. Yeah.
yeah, one quick question. So, what is concurrent programming?
Okay. See, concurrent programming, like if you consider the operating system technology, it could be quite different one. Like if you consider what is a concurrent manager or concurrent program from the operating system technology, it's nothing but running programs parallel.
Okay, people at my workplace they always
Yeah,
talk
I'll come there.
saying concurrent programming.
Yeah, I'm coming there. So in the Oracle ERP environment, when you say concurrent program, so what is the purpose of concurrent programmers? See, in the Oracle ERP environment, when a business user or developer, if at all, if they want to run any of the job, generally like let us say you want to run a report, you want to run a report, or maybe you want to run an interface. So for the business user purpose, you will not provide SQL developer or maybe tool to run a program, isn't it? For a business user,
Yes.
you will not provide any tool. What is the tool you provide is just the Oracle e-business login, and that is a tool for him. So you just need to log into the Oracle e-business tool, and there's an interface which is provided for him to run the program. So what we do
Okay.
as a developer, we'll design a report and we'll register this program as a content program. Why the name content
Oh,
program? Because n number of developers can run n number of programs parallel. That is why the name is content program.
okay.
That is the reason it's called content program. So the basic important part is it is provided an interface. It is like it is used for the purpose of running a program by the business user generally.
Yes. Yeah, because most of the time my director
Yeah,
he always talks about concurrent programming. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Great.
So that is the purpose. Yeah. Okay, so where are we like coming to the database? So when you're working on any of the database, always basic thing you have to find out is what is the database version, and like which version and all those things. And so like when you install a database, what exactly happens, and what is the way you connect to the multiple database? So for every database, whenever you install, it will have the host name, nothing but the location of the database server. So in which IP address your database is running. So that is a major host name. And apart from that, it runs in a particular port. We call it a software port.
Yeah.
And also SID or a service name. So there is a service name which will be assigned to your database. So when you want to connect to
Okay.
any of the database, you require these three important parts: the host name,
Yes.
the port, as well as the service name, and of course the user and database, username password.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by default the port number is 1521, right?
Yeah. So the default port number we use is 1521. So but it can be again depends upon your DBS who installs it.
So exactly what is this service name? What does that mean? I mean, is it the like database name or
Yes.
a database addition?
Yeah. So if you observe here, like when you install Oracle database, what it will ask you is so for a given one more thing also I'll tell you here. Let us say now this is my host name. So in this host
Mm-hmm.
name, I can also install multiple databases. See, don't consider when I say database, it does not mean you are like again another installation of that. So here the thing is, you already have a compartment called let us say I have the VI as my database. Now the same host name, I can have one more version of one more database also, a multiple database also again.
With different service name.
No, no, service name is everything is same. The port number, host name could be same. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is, I can have multiple databases. Nothing but let us say when you construct a house, you can have a single floor, you can have a double floor, and you can have a multi-floor, isn't it?
Okay, so just to confirm, so I will do suppose one time installation of Oracle 11G XC database. In the same database, I can have multiple databases. Is that
That's correct.
what?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but one more thing is we should not, confuse. Like when you say multiple databases does not mean multiple installations, right? It's a single installation only, but with a multiple, multiple SIDs.
Okay. Multiple SIDs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you will never come across this scenario. Like most of the things which I work
Yeah.
on, I
Okay.
never even come across so you'll have a single SID, and but the thing is, what they do is they will have a multiple schemas will come there first of all. So now if you see
Yeah.
here,
I mean, schema is nothing but a user, right?
yes, sir, that's correct. Schema is nothing but a user. So if you see here, we have Oracle Level G database on the top, which is my database software, and I have my like a VI as my exciting. And in this one, I will have multiple schemas. You'll have multiple schemas, nothing but users. So
Yeah.
every schema will have database objects.
Yeah.
So a database object can be a table, a synonym, right? A sequence,
Views.
yes, use a method use, and even your procedure, function, package. Right? These are all the synonyms. Sorry, these are the
Okay.
database object and even a sequence. So, sequence is there. Yeah. So these are the normal database object which you come across. So now the database object is relevant for a particular schema. It is relevant for a particular schema. So now if you observe, like in the SQL developer, when I am writing any of the database, let us say if I want to run any of the query, I have to mention on which connection I have to run it. Nothing but from which user I want to run it. So I have to mention from which connection I have to run it. Nothing but if you observe here, let us say select user from here, it will show me what is the username. It shows the username is apps. Nothing but the schema name is apps.
F.
So here, we have a concept called granting. We also have a concept called grants. Nothing but let us say, assume that there is a database object which is available in Scott schema, and but a user from the app schema can access this particular Scott schema object also.
Yeah. By granting him the permission, right?
Right. Nothing but you
Yeah.
can also provide the granting create, update, delete, or you can also provide only read-only options, and you can also provide execute
Yeah.
options. That's a part of
Yeah.
granting concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a basic database terminology software, the schema, and database objects.
So one quick question. So here in the DB objects, I know what is table is. What does this schema means?
Yeah. Okay. So a synonym is nothing but an alias name, an alternate name for any of the
Okay,
database objects.
alias name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a
Okay.
synonym for anything. It can be for table, it can be for sequence, anything, but it's an alias name for the other database object.
Okay. Okay.
And in the database object, again one more. Okay, we'll get into there sometime later. Okay. Now, in the database terminology, if you consider the concept, the main purpose of the database is like a storing as well as extraction purpose. So
Yes.
there is a difference between your transactional data, the transaction data as well as metadata. There's a difference between a transaction data as well as metadata. So what is the basic difference between a transaction data is nothing but this transaction data means you're nothing but your client data, your client real-time data.
Yeah, real-time data. So is metadata is nothing but is it like analytical data?
No, 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 that is wrong. No, it's not analytical data.
Okay.
So analytical data is nothing but see analytics means the concept is analytic means the refinement of your transaction data. Nothing but you want to provide the information to the
Yeah.
business user in a more refined way by applying your
Yes.
analytics, by applying your formulas to get more
Yes.
information from it.
Yes.
So metadata means it's a data about data. It's a data about data, but if this particular data is not your transaction data. Understand here. This data is this when you are talking about metadata, it means that you're not talking about transaction data. It's not at all transaction.
Yeah. So we are giving some simple things to retrieve the data, if I'm not wrong.
No, it is wrong. So metadata means like when you install Oracle database, the database has to store some basic information about your database information, like who is the user, how many schemas you want to create.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
basic when you install Oracle by default, there are list of schemas which will be created automatically.
Yes.
So if you observe here, select start from all underscore users. This will list down the list of users in your Oracle database. Now, this particular database is having these number of users. Now, if you see the count, so there are 319 users which are there in this particular database.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends upon which database you're installing, but generally when you install Oracle, by default SYS as well as system. These are the system users which will get installed. SYS as well as system.
Yeah.
So this will be controlled by the DBAs and they will have a DBA privilege also.
Yes.
And even one more thing here, when you are trying to connect your database, we also mentioned what is the connection type. It's a basic connection or it's a other, like we also, sorry, you see the role, sorry. So if you
Yeah.
see the
Default.
role, this is sysdb or default. So this is what we do. Okay. So,
Yes.
so when I'm talking about metadata, it's like one basic thing is now if you observe, like Oracle database has to store the information about the all users. So it will use its own table called all underscore users. This is one of the metadata table. And one more example is like let us say in a given database or for a particular schema, you want to create a database object. One simple thing, let me show you. Let us say access underscore table. Now I want to create this particular table. Now I log in with the apps connection, isn't it? Apps user. I have logged in with the
Yes.
apps connection. When you create database object, in which particular schema it is getting created?
For the uh for the apps user, or
Yeah. So now I'm in the apps connection only, right? But now if you observe, I'm in the
yeah.
apps user. I have executed this command in the apps user. So it will create the command, it will create the database object in the apps user. So now, but
Yes.
how do you validate? Let us say we are multiple developers, and you have given a task to me, and I say that this object is created. But how do you validate this object is created or not? How do you validate? So what we can do? So we have a metadata table called all underscore objects or maybe user underscore objects. There are multiple things which you all underscore objects. Is one of the table you can use it, or you can also use another table called user underscore objects. Both are same. So little bit difference is there between them. Now what I can tell you is like using user underscore objects, I can validate whether this particular table is there or not. Object underscore name is equal to, you can just mention the table name and make sure that you mention the capital letter. When you're trying to validate any of the database objects, always the metadata information will get stored in uppercase.
Okay.
Now it tells you clearly what is the object type and when it was created.
Okay.
Now by this I can validate.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is now who is who is entering the data into this user underscore object. As a developer, I'm not entering any data, but as a database, it is just uploading some information to the background table, the metadata tables,
Yes.
right? So that is why they are called metadata tables.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So now in general normal reporting terminology, we have this particular concept, right? Data, metadata, and information.
Yeah.
Right? So information is nothing but your process data,
Yeah. More refined data.
more refined, nothing but your analytical data. What do we call it?
Yeah.
Analytical data or report. Okay. So now we got some basic information about the database, the tables, the schema, right? The metadata. So we have lot number of metadata tables. Like not only these things, we have many metadata tables. But the major things are like the all underscore objects, users, all underscore source. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's get into the SQL part, the basic SQL part. So I have a slide, Vishnu. What I will do is, I'll send you the slide, but I'll try to cover up the parts, cover up the things which is part of the slide. Okay. So I'll directly show you the programs. If you need any of theoretical information or a presentation, you can just go through the slides. But most of the technical
Yeah.
part, most of the direct samples I'll be covering up here.
Okay. No problem.
So now, when you're working on a SQL, we generally call this particular command like a select, from, where, group, having, and other. So when you
Yeah.
then expertise required, these all things have to have a clear understanding. So select start from where everyone knows. The only problem is the group and as well as the having. So we have to clearly understand from where we have to use the appropriate group and having. So but anyway, we'll start with the basic thing first of all. So so what is this select? This is select is nothing but an Oracle command which we use for the purpose of getting the data, extracting the data. Okay. So now select means we have to mention what are the columns you want to retrieve. Select is for the purpose of telling the column refinement. And from this for the purpose of table source. Like I'm going to say source of data. It can be table, it can be view, right? And where is for the purpose of filtering rows. Understand here, filtering rows. So we have to have a understanding about what is row and what is column. Correct?
Okay.
And group is for the purpose of grouping the it is for the purpose of grouping the data.
Data.
Having is for the purpose of filtering the group data. This particular having clause works on the group data, not on the normal data. That's the difference.
Sorry. What's that last sentence you told me?
Having clause. We generally
Okay.
call these things as clauses. Having
Okay.
clause. This having
So,
clause, yeah,
so having class works on the group data, right?
yeah, it works on only on the group of data. So we cannot choose having clause without any group by clause.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So these are the functionalities of each particular clauses. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'll start with the basic one first of all. So every basic Oracle SQL query should have select as well as from. So any
Yeah.
basic SQL query will require select as well as from. So why we require like this? It's all depends upon the Oracle database how they are implemented. So now one simple thing is let us say select star from Geo. So dual is one of the dummy table which is provided by Oracle. The dual by default, it does not have any meaning. So why what is a dual is? A dual table is a table which is having one column and one row. If you observe here, it will have only one column as well as one row.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a simple dummy table. There is no real meaning for it. It's just a simple dummy table. So there are many reasons why it's created also, but will come there sometime later. Now let's
Yeah. Normally we do all the any multiplications or all those
right,
things from dual, right?
right, that's correct. Let us choose any of the Oracle table. Let us say I'll choose a table called. I'm using Oracle tables, okay? Oracle ERP tables, or maybe I
Okay.
can I can use the EMP table because most of my slides will be based on the EMP table. So let's go with EMP only initially. Okay. Now if you observe here, I just mentioned select star from EMP. Now
Mm-hmm.
now like I'm able to get all the data which is available in the EMP table. So you can see how
Yes.
many rows also. It's a 22 rows. Now,
Mm-hmm.
like when you are trying to execute the select query without any condition, what it will do? It will get all the data which is available in the particular table.
Yes.
So now if you want to filter the columns, let us say if you don't want, we are able to see around 8 columns or 9 columns, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'm able to see 9 columns. But let us say I don't want to see all the columns, I just want to see only the first 2 columns. Or maybe I just want to mention the explicit column names here. EMP, email from employee. Now we could see only these 2 columns. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let us say I want to see the salary also. So I can add up the column here. Let us say I want to see the annual salary. Now let us say in this EMP table we are storing the salary for each and every month. I just want to see the annual salary. So what I can do? So we don't have the annual
So
salary.
I'll into two.
So we can just
Yeah.
simply mention 12 into salary, and we can mention the column name like this, and then underscore salary.
Yeah. That's the alias, right?
Yeah, this is called column alias. Column alias.
Okay.
So generally we can also mention as like this, but it is not required.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is called column alias. And you can also mention something like a table alias. You have a concept called table alias. Now we can mention E. Can you see the E? So I can
Yeah.
refer each and every column with this E dot something.
Yeah.
Like this. This is called,
So maybe the table alias is will be useful when we deal with two or three tables, right? Two
yeah,
tables.
correct. Yes. When you're dealing with multiple tables in the from clause, so it is always better we have to use the table alias.
Yeah.
Now let us say if I want to retrieve only the employees belonging to let us say if I want to get all the data which is belongs to department 10. So what I can do is EMP where BCD invoice equal to 10. So this, now we are what are we trying to do? We are filtering the rows here. We are filtering the rows, right?
Yeah.
So the where condition works on the row level. Where condition works on the
Yeah.
row level. Filter the row level data. Now
Yeah.
let us say if you want to use, let us say we want to see the data of all the employees who are belonging to multiple departments. Get all the data who are who are belonging to department 10 or 20. Anything. Either it can be 10 or it can be 20. So what we can do
Okay.
now, we can write like this, isn't it? It's equal to department 10 or department is equal to 20.
Yeah.
This is one of the easiest ways. But there is one more refinement we can do here. Let us say, if you go on adding up, let us say sometimes your manager says, try to get the data of 10 and 20. And next time he says, get the data of 30 also. So if he goes on adding up, what's the best thing what we can do is, easiest thing is, put it into one. Put it
Yeah. In clause.
yeah. This is one of the easiest and good things we can make it. We get the same result.
Yeah.
Nothing but we are providing the set here. Generally we call it as set, right? Set.
Okay.
Okay. So you can provide the list or set. If there's some particular variation we call it, you can just provide the list of information here. So you can provide how many departments you want, you can simply mention here. So it becomes very easy to write.
Okay.
Right? 10, 20, 30, whatever you want, you can just write it. So what exactly is trying to do is trying to validate all the department members in this given set or list, and it will get only those data which are matching with the where clause.
Yeah.
Now, if you observe in this one, so how many commands, how many Oracle commands we have? We have select, from, and where.
Right.
So if I write this EMP as a capital letter, will it work?
Yes.
Right? It works, right? So,
Yeah.
metadata, as we discussed, if you observe just now, metadata, as I was telling you that metadata is stored in capital letter, right? Metadata
Yeah.
is stored in capital
Yes.
letter database, but when you are trying to write a SQL query, so whenever you mention any of the database object name, you can just mention in any case, it can be upper or lower case. And even the Oracle command, you can mention any case, it can be upper or lower.
Yeah. It's case insensitive, right?
Okay. Yes, it is insensitive. But the data, the transactional data is always case sensitive. Now here if you observe, we have uppercase. It's not because of it's not because of Oracle stuff. It's because it is how the developer has inserted the data.
Okay.
Okay, so data is always
Okay.
case sensitive. Data is always case
Yeah.
sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
I mean, data is nothing but however we store it stores, right? So,
right. The way you show, yes, the way it will be.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is the in clause. Now, let us say a few more conditions also now. So our concentration now, what I am doing is on the where condition now. Okay. So now, if you observe, as we see the above command, we have select, we have from, as well as where. So in this particular three clauses or in three commands, which one will be filtered first? And I'm going to say which one will be executed first.
Select store from maybe from.
Yeah. So when you have see in the select query. how many already command or how many clauses it is having is always with the from. It will always start with from.
Yeah,
Start with
that
from.
that way it can go to the right source.
Yeah, right. Because it has to know from which source it has to get the data. It will start with the from,
Yeah,
and then it will go with the where because it has to filter the data, right? So it cannot come to the
yeah,
select clause until unless you filter the data. So that is why it will go to where. Then finally it will come to select.
yes,
Okay, so this is how it will be executed. So now when you're writing a query, you always make sure that what you want it. So on what condition you want it and from which source you want it. Okay, the source is
yeah,
always important and a condition, then the selection.
yeah,
So now let us write a few more queries. Now here if you observe, we have an employee data and where the salary where the commission is null, right? Can I say?
null, yeah,
The commission is null. So let us say write a query, write a query to get all the employees where commission is null.
is null, yeah. Select start from EMP where commission is null.
So this will give the data or not?
I think for null we have to use is command, right?
Yeah. So
Is,
is equal to will never work with a null, right? Is equal to will never work
yeah,
with a null. So we have to explicitly use is. We have to explicitly use
yeah.
is.
So null is it only works with null, right?
Yes, is works only with a null. And if you want to use is not, just use is not. Let us say if you want to get all the data where the commission is not done, then just use is not.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
null, yeah.
So these are the 5 employees who are having commission, and the remaining employees who are not having commission.
Yes,
Okay. And let's see this one also. Okay. So now can you tell me how many columns as well as how many rows it will return you?
null plus 10, maybe 4.
Okay, 4 columns and how many rows?
All
One row or multiple row or how many rows?
we haven't given from okay.
Yeah. So the number of rows depends upon the front clause, isn't it? The number of rows depends upon the source. Now the source
Yeah,
is EMP table. So in the now I don't have where clause. If you have where clause, there are chance of filtering the data. You don't have where clause, so there is no filtration happening now, right? There is no
yeah,
filtration happening. So it has to get all the data which is available in the EMP, isn't it?
yes,
But the list of columns which you mentioned here, there is no way link between your EMP, isn't it? The list of
yes,
columns which you mentioned, there is no way link. So still, but as per our select query or maybe as per the select command, we can use any of the columns, right? Provided they are the constant values. If you use, let us say, if you use some other column name, then it may give an error. But here, but here I just mentioned none, which is a normal Oracle standard value. That is why it's not giving any error, right? So now I will just see how
yeah.
many rows you are able to see now. So we have around 22 rows.
22 rows, all the rows.
Yes, all the rows of ESP. Now let us say, can I mention like this? I say, right? I could see salary now, right?
Yeah, 5 columns on all the rows.
Yeah. So now, but can I mention like this? Will it work? Will this work?
No, high is not a column, right?
Yes. Now, but let us say one more thing. Will this work?
Uh, yes,
Got it?
yeah,
Okay. So when you are mentioning any of the value in the select query, if it is a constant, yes, it works. If it is a column name, that column has to be available in your database table. Then only it will work.
yeah,
Okay. I wish to 1 minute. So now, yeah. So now we know when you mention any of the column names in the select, you have to be very much careful like which columns you are mentioning and whether they're static or whether they are the column names from the appropriate table. Okay. So this is a major important part, like if you observe, like we have trying to work on select and from and where. So, but here in the where condition, we can mention multiple conditions also, right? In the where condition, we can mention multiple conditions, isn't it? Now let us say I want to get all the data where the department in 10, 20, 30,
20.
and salary is salary is greater than 500. Now what
Okay.
exactly happening here?
So it fetches all the information where salary is greater than 500 in those departments.
Right. So now as we mentioned and condition, first of all what it will do, it will try to get all the data which is belonging to department 10, 20 and 30, and then it will try
Yes.
to apply this particular condition on those particular data, isn't it?
Y-
So when you mention and, the both condition has to satisfy, isn't it? The left side as well as the right side.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
you get around 15 rows. Now let us say
Mm-hmm.
if you apply the same condition but with the OR clause,
We'll have 22 rows.
yeah. So we may have 22, not sure. So still we are getting the 15 rows only. Why? Because
Okay.
so most of the employees which
We-
we are using, like if you observe, okay, let's see the real data first. If you see the real data, let's start from EMP or the way set assigning. So there are only there is only one employee. Okay, see, but
Okay.
all the employees, yeah, so 500, right? So that's the reason. There are 21 employees who are having salary greater than 500, and there is only one employee who is having less than 500, right? And here, if you
Okay.
observe what is happening, first of all, it try to at least one condition it has to satisfy, right? At least one condition it has to satisfy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Or if you see, yeah, anyway. So now, if you see this particular multiple condition, we can mention either and or or.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, like one more thing we'll try to generally come across, write a query, write a query to get the first top five paid employees. I mean, this is salary. Now, now we have around 22 employees. I just want to write a query to get the list of employees, only the first top five paid employees, not all the employees, only the first top paid five employees. Now, what you do? Let's start from EMP,
Okay.
order by salary descent, right? So, but here, if you observe, the null, it is considering the null as a, yeah. So, if you consider here, so when you're considering any of this data, always try to check out whether you have a, if you have any, if your expectation is that, if a column is having null data, so always have a condition where salary is not null. Because null is
Okay.
considered as the top. First of all, null means no value at all. But when you're performing order by condition, null is considered as the highest value. When you're mentioning order by condition, now the value null is considered as a top level condition, isn't it? That is why it is ordering first of all null value is getting shown, and the remaining columns are getting shown, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So now have a condition salary is not null, and then now see the data. But our requirement is we want to see only the five rows, right?
Top five.
We don't
Yeah.
want to see all the rows. So
So instead of star, we could use top five.
see the top five, it is available in Microsoft SQL, but it is not available in your Oracle. That is the problem.
Okay.
That is not available here. Okay. So top concept is available in the Dynamic SQL, but here it is not there. Now what is the
Okay.
thing
Okay.
which we can do is, let us say, so we have a concept called row. Now if you see, just see this one. Can you see row?
Yeah. So what is it Ronam doing?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So first of all, just see the data. Okay, now we got this data. Now, as per our requirement, we just want to see these three rows, right? These particular top five. So now,
Yes.
what we can do is using a single query, we cannot achieve. Using a single query, we cannot achieve. But expectation is we just want only these rows, isn't it? These particular rows.
Yes.
Now just see this one. So try to modify here. What I will do is I'll just say select star from. Okay, I'll mention like this. Okay. Now, in the from clause, as we know that we have to mention any of the database object name, right? Generally table. Mostly will mention the table or a view or a materialized view. But we can also mention a query as a source for a from clause. We can also mention a query as a source for the from clause. Okay. So it's giving error because of the semicolon. This is English semicolon.
Semicolon. Yeah.
Okay. Now what I will do is can you see are we getting the appropriate data? 7839
Yes.
37902 7788 as well as 7566. So why we
Okay.
what is the reason if you observe why we could not achieve this particular data using a single query? I'll tell you. So now if I apply the row num at the like at the other query you're getting it right, but if you try to apply the same row num logic, here it will not work. Just see this one. If you apply the row num logic here, where all the out of the salary, all these things, and not null, and then sorry, and row num less than or equal to 1. So if you apply row num logic here, it will get totally you will get a different data. You can see this. So where is 7902? Where is 7566? 7566 is there, but you don't have 3, you don't have 7902, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Right?
why is it that so?
Yeah. So technically it is correct, logically it is wrong. But the reason is, if you see why exactly it is doing all this logic is, so here, as you know that first of all from is done, right? From is done. From,
Mm-hmm.
from EMP is done. And then it will try to get all the data where salary is not null. And but here, this row num logic, if you observe, let us say, see this row num first. So here, the thing, what happens is this order by. The problem is with the order by. This order by will get applied at last. This order by will get applied at last. Now this row num, what exactly it does? Now if you are trying to just see the row num logic, so now as per our logic, this order we want to get all the rows. We want to get all the rows based on the salary. So now we are trying to filter the data before order by, isn't it? We are trying to
Yes.
we are trying to filter the data before order by. So now, where is your salary descending is considered? We are not considering that salary now, right? We are not considering our salary logic at all.
Okay.
You got it? Now we are just simply applying the rows. We are just simply trying to filter. We are trying to filter the first five rows, but we are not considering salary logic at all. Because as per our understanding, the order by will be applied at last. Order by will be applied after the select clause. I mean to say once you got the data. Of course before select clause, but after the where clause, isn't it? After the where clause it will get applied, isn't it?
Yes.
First of all, from will be applied, then where will be applied, then order by, then select clause, isn't it?
Yes.
So now once your where is applied, and like after you are applying order file after the where clause, so like there is no meaning at all, right? There is no meaning at all. They simply
Okay.
filtering the rows without any salary consideration. That is why we could not get the data using a single query. So now if you observe here, what are we trying to do is we're trying to get all the data, and now we have the data in appropriate way, nothing but order by salary descending. So now we can apply our row num logic after getting the salary in a descending order.
Okay. Okay.
That is the
Got you.
reason.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
Okay.
Okay. So you cannot like whenever you have this kind of queries, always not consider that we cannot try to do in a single query. We have to do in a multiple queries.
Okay. So this kind of queries, do we call this as subqueries or?
Yeah, of course, we can call it as subquery.
Okay.
Okay. And now let us say we have got one more management task. Let us say we would like to get all the employees where. where employee name starts with letter A or K. Okay.
Yeah, EMP like.
Yeah, A.
Yeah,
Let us say letter name starts with A. So now you can just simply use A percentile.
yeah,
Okay. So now like we have one more thing in this one. Let us say like when percentile stands for any number of characters. It can be zero or more. Isn't it? Percentile stands for zero or more. So but we have
yeah,
one more concept in the same like operation called rename like. We just mentioned, let us say after A, assume that after A you want to have only four columns. As per your requirement, after A it has to have only four columns. I mean to say four letters. After A, we want to have only four letters. What we can use? We can use underscore here. One, two, three, four. Okay? Correct?
so it fetches all the values where
Where
in.
it will start with A and followed by four any of the four letters. Any of the four letters.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay,
Because using like operator, we cannot mention the size, right? Let us say if you want to get all the employees whose name is having only the four characters, what we can do? Start from EMP where e name like you can simply mention underscore one, two, three, and four. That's it. So
okay,
instead of this, we can do other way also. Let us say EMP where e name where length of e name is equal to. So these are the different ways it is working.
okay,
Okay, but here length is a function. Here length is called it's a single row function. We discussed that later. But length is called single row function.
okay,
Okay.
fine, okay, fine, sure. Yeah. Mm, okay,
So like more or less like we have covered select part, from part as well as where part. But the other part is like we'll try to see in the next class. That's a group by part. So group by as well as the having part. Now we may take much time on the group by part because that is very much important one. Okay. And we'll also again
okay,
we have to use the where address again we have to use that. Okay. I'll try to work on the group by having and because again the combination of the where clause in the next one. Okay.
okay.
So see database you will have a schema called HR schema. That is very much easy and very much
Y- 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 Yes, HR schema. I have unlocked it already.
okay, very good. So we try to get the list of tables from HR schema and
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine for this, and we'll see the other things next class. Okay.
Yeah. Tomorrow at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much.